Alrighty then, good afternoon ladies and gents, and welcome to what is a very damp Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City. After 11 rounds of back and forth action throughout this 16th season of SKG Tier 1, we come to the season finale, and once again we do have a Drivers' Championship on the line still. It's Parker versus Esko Kalevi, as we wait and see who will take their first ever SKG Tier 1 Drivers' Championship title. My name is George Sanderson, and alongside me in the commentary box, as always, for this race will be Ollie Lois. Ollie, it is good to have you here. We've got a very exciting afternoon ahead of us, I'm sure, but raining qualifying. Absolutely, and we can see the cars now heading out onto track. There was a slight wait there as people, I think, updating their setups and deciding what to go for, but it is the championship leaders who are out first. Parker leading out Esko Kalevi out onto the track here in this 18-minute qualifying session. We're already a minute into that, and the top two in the championship will be the first two to start their flying laps. Hello Yatsin in the chat. Hello to everybody else who will be joining us tonight for this season finale. And, well, Ollie, who are your early thoughts with? Because, of course, we go into this one with Parker having a pretty commanding lead of 21 points. But crazier things have happened in a title fight. Yeah. Ollie, I don't think you've ticked the box, my friend.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, now we're good.
He's back. He's back.
It's that, yeah.
J-Chick,
Fantastic.
interestingly, retires in the pits. I don't believe that's for a quali ban. I don't believe so. I've not heard that Catsper has a quali ban. Ethan Quigley has race bans, but he is not. He is not in the session, or didn't join the session, should I say? So, yeah, interesting. But anyway, welcome to the stream, Ollie. We've finally got
yeah, it's
you
happened
here.
again. Yep.
It's happened again in the season finale now. But I'll ask you again then. Your thoughts on the championship battle tonight. Because of course, as I said, Parker is quite some distance ahead of Esko Kalevi, but anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is SKG Tier 1. If you guys all here for Baku, you know anything can happen and anything will happen. You know, it's one of them. You just got to wait and see. You got to wait and see what happens. I mean, you never know. Parker 21 points ahead, he may crash, and Esko may win. You know, it's just it's things that they seem unlikely to happen, but you just can't write it out.
Exactly, and we are just waiting for drivers to come around and complete their their first run in qualifying. It will be Esko Kalevi who comes up to the line first, dances his way through the final corner up to the line, and it is a 1 minute 25.070 to beat here today. Parker immediately does beat that by 0.3 of a second as Mark Daniel slots in between the two of them, but oh wow, Lewis Jones back to the top immediately, a 24.5 from him. And well, I think this will be the first round of the season potentially where Tier 1 does not have the quickest qualifying time of the weekend, because we are, of course, in intermediate conditions, whereas all the other 3 qualifying sessions in Tiers 2 to 4 were in dry conditions. And interestingly enough, all 3 of those tiers set in 1 minute 14s as well. But I don't think we'll be quite reaching the 1 minute 14s, at least not in these conditions.
Well, we don't know, because we have the fastest man that has been the last few rounds. Goes over line P2.
Silo down on Lewis Jones. Who would have thought that coming into this weekend if you'd said Lewis Jones would come back and not Silo off the top spot? Of course, that was the first lap, as I think Lewis Jones sliding his way through the middle sector. That was incredibly close to doing a full 360 there, but he keeps control of the car just about, and he might be on a second lap here. To be fair, in these conditions, it is quite common to see drivers go out with multiple laps of fuel in their car, and looks like Lewis might be doing just that as he comes through the final corner. Across the line go a couple of cars. No, Lewis pulls into the pit lane. Behind him, anyone else coming in? Esko Kalevi into the pits. We have the Alpine of Eric, who has invalidated, so he will not be on his way.
Got Venzi just coming through the second sector. He's done a purple first, but I think we should know by now that probably not the case. But the Red Bull, yeah, into the technical section of Mexico in the wet. I mean, oh wow, that'd be very, very slidey.
Absolutely, yeah. This circuit doesn't have a lot of grip at the best of times because it's only used once a year for the F1 and once for the big slide there from Venzi. It's only used by F1 and Formula E nowadays. There used to be a bit of use by NASCAR, but the last time they came here was in 2025, and before that I think it was in the mid-2010s that NASCAR was last here. So it's not a commonly used circuit, and that means there is very little grip on the circuit to be found. But Venzi finding a decent amount, puts himself third with a 24.6. Believe
exactly a tenth behind.
Yeah, exactly a tenth between the top three. Parker hoping to get himself in and amongst that as he comes around the final corner across the line, goes quickest at 24.420, and the championship leader goes to the top of the timing sheets.
Yeah, that's a very nice lap there from the Racing Bulls. It's exactly what he needs to do. I mean, there are obviously multiple scenarios where Parker can finish this position, Esko needs to finish there. I think it's just Parker needs to beat Esko. I think that's it. But even if he finishes behind.
Yeah, technically not even that. I'm just looking. If Esko Kalevi gets... Hello, Eric. That's a nice lap. Yeah, 1 minute 24.3. Is that a sign of Eric's pace, or are the times just coming down as Krabs now goes to the top of the standings as well with 24.2? And Silo might be about to beat both of them as he comes through the final section. He exits the Forest Sol Baseball Stadium, comes round the final corner, and a man who's looking to make it 4 pole positions in a row goes provisional pole with a 23.750, and he is well on track to equal Top's record of 4 consecutive pole positions, but become the first driver to do that without missing a race in between it. But I'm just looking at the moment of where Parker needs to finish to be guaranteed the title. I believe if Esko Kalevi gets pole position, fastest lap and a race win, Parker would have to finish 6th in the race to get the title. If he finished 7th and Esko gets perfect score, they would be level on points. However, that would be Esko Kalevi's 2nd win of the season, and Parker has only got 1 win, which was all the way back in the season opener at Australia. So 6th or above and Parker is guaranteed the title, but realistically 7th would be enough regardless of what Esko Kalevi manages to do. So that is one to keep an eye out on for the course of this race. There is also a championship, well, a battle of sorts going on in the Drivers' Championship between Takubi, who is currently not here. We're hoping he might make it before the end of qualifying, but not sure how likely that is with 9 minutes left to go. But Takubi begins the day on 108 points, with Catsbay and Jaychick, who's retired from qualifying, on 100, and Tom Campbell level with the Red Bull driver on 100 points as well. So a good battle for third, which could become a battle for second if one of them has a particularly good race and Esko Clevi is down the order, as he is 12 points ahead of Takubi. In the Constructors heading into this one, it is all wrapped up. VCarb, your Tier 1 Constructors champions before the green flag flew here tonight. But once again, a battle behind them ongoing between Red Bull, Ferrari and Williams. As there are 43 points between the three teams, which means technically Williams could still finish second, but is very unlikely. It's one to keep an eye out on. Lawrence Patten currently on a lap for Ferrari. He is yet to set a lap time as he goes very deep into the stadium section. It does stay valid because he won't have gained any time with that little detour there, but through the
round the final
stadium
corner
section, Esko goes up to second. Very nice lap time from him, puts him ahead of his championship rival, but Lawrence Patten brings the time down a little bit more, a 23.653 from the Ferrari. Welcome to qualifying, Lawrence Patten.
And welcome to wet qualifying, where the times just tumble every lap.
Exactly. This could really go down to who crosses the line last at the end of qualifying.
Yeah.
They could really be in a big, helpful position at the end. And to be honest, riding on board with Lawrence Patten at the moment, the rain is falling, but there doesn't appear to be any standing water. So what could we potentially see towards the end of the session? A late gamble from someone to try out the soft tyres, because there's not much spray coming off the tyres whatsoever. So you look behind the Ferrari as well. There's no stream of water being made behind him. So I think there might be a question of, do we see anyone risk soft tyres at the end of this qualifying? Silo certainly hasn't.
There will be one. Who shall we predict it's going to be?
I'm just flicking through the field at the moment to see. I think if it's going to be anyone, it'll be someone who's lower down the order towards the end of qualifying, who's decided that they don't have that great pace in the intermediate conditions. You can see the field spread at the moment as well is insane. 3.5 seconds between Lawrence Patten and Tom Campbell at the moment. The top 10 roughly within a second. But yeah, I don't think it'll be one of the front runners that tries it out. Tell you what, let's ride on board though with the man who has done the last 3 rounds all from pole position. He took victory in 2 of them. He had the win snatched away from him in Austria last week by a post-race penalty for crossing the pit entry line. Silo will be looking to go again for another perfect weekend of pole position and race winner as we head down the 1.2 kilometre Retta Principale towards turn 1. He'll pick out his braking zone on the very far left hand side of the track, and he'll swing it in to the right, then the left, and then the right again through the first 3 corners of the S's Moises Solana as he now heads down the next long DRS straight. No DRS at the moment in these conditions, but hard on the brakes into turn 4. 90-degree left-hander as we enter this sort of stadium section. In a way, there's a lot of fans packed in to this one little complex, and they'll be treated, I'm sure, to lots of racing action during the race. Heading into the S's now, first to the left through turn 7, then you have the right-hander of 8, followed by the left-hander of 9 very quickly, and one final S of 10 through 11 to complete sector 2. Silo currently is 6 tenths up on his time as Lawrence Patten improves to a 23.3. Very nice lap time by the Ferrari. What can Silo do as we enter the Forest Sol now? He's going sideways practically through the slow left-hander of turn 13. Out of the baseball stadium we go, under the bridge, through the penultimate corner at the Peraltada, and now through the final corner up to the line. It's a 22.9 from the Mercedes, 4 tenths quicker nearly at the front, and Silo's back to his best, Ollie.
Yeah, what is this guy made of? Honestly, yeah, phenomenal lap there from the Mercedes. 4 tenths, even in, oh god. Yeah,
even in these conditions, that's impressive.
Exactly.
And we're into the 1:22 22s now.
So we have Lawrence Patten doing a bit of a drift show.
We see the Alpine of Eric come into the pit behind. Oh, Lawrence pattern, what's he done? He's facing the wrong way at the S's, but he gets it turned around. But yeah, you can see he is really fighting for grip here, and it looks like he might go around again. Oh, just holds on to it at the end of the S's section there. Does he have any damage on that Ferrari? Somehow he has escaped without any damage, despite being so close to the wall when we went on board with him. Through the final corner at the Pelotado, here is Esko Kalevi, but he will pull into the pits with 3 minutes to go in this session. And it's Tom Campbell currently out on a lap, Ollie.
I was going to say, the one man that's
lap, sorry.
Yeah, one man that's surprised me that he's not up there yet is, Tom Campbell. Obviously, he's just with the lightning fast in qualifying. He's sitting on 27.1, so maybe he's not finding his groove in these conditions.
So, Tom Campbell into the first complex at turns 1, 2 and 3. You can see how gingerly he's going through those corners. Still taking a lot of curb and has a little snap of oversteer on the exit down the DRS straight. But as you can see, the DRS is firmly shut, not available in these wet conditions. He's 8/10 up through the first sector, but he's going to have to find a lot more over the course of the lap if he is to challenge towards the front. Krabs, you may have noticed on the timings there, has just got up to P2 with a 23.1, but still, Silo the only man in the 22s. Through the middle sector comes Tom Campbell. And what can he find on this lap? Big snap of oversteer through the S's section, but he keeps the car facing the right direction there or thereabouts. And over the second sector split, 2.4 seconds up. So this is going to be an improvement, but 2.4 seconds at the moment only gets him about P10 at best, I believe. So still needs to find a large chunk of time through the final few corners. Through the Pelotado we go at turn 16 and then 17, and up to the line comes the V-Carb. What can he do?
Oh my word.
It's P6, a 23.5 from Tom Campbell with 1.5 minutes to go.
Well, I didn't realise that Silo is still out on track, and not only is he out on track, no. He's 3/10 up. So, strap in. I think the pole position time is about to be, well, smashed. Yep.
And it absolutely is a 22.577 from Silo. That is hugely impressive from him there. His teammates, Kareem, is about to come round as well to finish his lap. He's up in 5th at the moment. And what can the Lebanese driver do? It's not an improvement, it was 10 seconds down. He will go again though, plenty of time for him to set another lap. You can see yellow flags in the third sector, I believe. That is for an Alpine that's trying to be the last car across the line or as late as possible. 44 seconds to go in qualifying. And Krabs doing a slow lap himself. He's about to go again. Magnussen Cube did improve, but it's still only P11 for him. And everyone winding up for that final lap. Look at the chaos in the final sector at the moment as everyone jostling for position here, trying to be the last car across the line. You've got a Red Bull pretty much coming to a standstill. You've got a V-Carb trying to fight their way through as well. We don't want anyone getting too held up here. I don't know if they have been. But let's see, Silo is coming round, but he is not going to be improving on this lap and will not cross the line. What's up with Parker? Oh, it was close. And it was oh so close. A 22.6 from our championship leader. Silo will come into the pits. There'll be no improvement from him as the checker flag falls. He's done all he can. What can his teammate do as the first driver coming up to the line then through the final sector here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, and around the final corner comes Kareem. Can he knock his teammates off pole position and stop him getting the record? No, he can't. It's only P4 for the Mercedes. What can Krabs do though? He has a 23.1 and he's about half a second up, as you may have heard Ollie say in the background there. Krabs around the final corner. Can he take the record away from Silo? Yes, he can! A 22.518. Puts him onto the front row and onto provisional pole as we now wait for the McLaren of Botti to come around the final corner, trying to get in the top 10. It's P5 for him. What can Esko Kalevi do coming through the final corner? Down in 8th at the moment, his championship rival 3rd. He puts himself on the front row by 0.02 of a second as Lewis Jones goes quickest. Welcome back to Tier 1 for the Welshman. He's on provisional pole now. We've still got Lawrence Patent across the line, and he shatters the Welsh Hearts with a 22-0. And we said the last car across the line will be the one who gets pole position, and it has turned out that way exactly in the end. Lawrence Patent takes pole position for Ferrari, and that might be a crucial point as well in the Constructors' Championship, Ollie. An extra point goes away of the Ferrari team. They're now only 21 behind Red Bull.
Yeah, God, that was exciting. That was very exciting. Silo down to P6. Obviously, we thought he'd done it, but yeah, 5 other drivers improving, including Eric. Nice lap from him. But yeah, Parker down in 7th, but he's probably going to be okay.
Parker 7th, Esko Kalevi 4th. Neither of them taking pole position, so they don't get that extra point for fastest lap. But what we can say is, oh my word, the rain has only got heavier, Ollie.
Oh no.
We could be in for a very interesting race
all
here.
over again.
We saw the chaos of Tier 4, which, if you didn't watch it, Tsukazama converted pole position in Tier 4 into a race win in similar conditions as this. So it looks good for Lawrence Patent starting from pole position. Napier Large finished second in Tier 4, starting 4th. And someone called GB Sanderson, can't think who that is, took the final spot on the podium from 13th on the grid. 4th place came from 15th as well. Performing a no-stop race. And that is what I want to mention. If this is a fully wet race, do you think we see someone try a zero-stop race, Ollie?
Yeah, I think we will do. I mean, yeah, we saw it in Tier 4 with, I think it was Hastaz and a Sauber, I think, of Malik. And Malik got a puncture on the final lap, I believe. So it's marginal, very marginal, but they were on full traction control. These guys are not, so that is one thing to note. To just note. But yeah, I mean, I kind of hope it dries up because I kind of know what to expect because I've already commentated on a race which was wet the whole way through. So I kind of hope it dries up and we get a nice crossover period where. So, we're going now then.
Yeah, here we go then. Lawrence Patent from pole as we go green in Mexico. And it's very blue indeed though, because look at the amount of standing water and spray coming off the back of these cars as we go down the 1.2 kilometre straight towards turn 1. Chaos in the background as people jostle for position, but into turn 1, here comes Krabs down the inside of the Ferrari, but it's Lawrence Patent who holds on in the background. Let's have a look at our championship rivals, Esko Kalevi and Parker, who are jostling over 5th place, maybe 4th, with Silo as well, who's up from 6th on the grid. Esko Kalevi going side by side with the man in the Mercedes at the moment, down the Rector Transera and the inside line for the Williams, but the Mercedes will hold it round the outside. Lawrence Patent is clear at the front. Esko Kalevi is trying to make it 3 wide at the moment with the Aston Martin, but nothing doing there. It looks like Krabs has held on. A bit of contact you saw there at the turn 6 sharp right-hander. Potential damage to keep an eye out for, but non-visible on any of the cars. Parker in 6th, Esko Kalevi 5th, but out at the front, Ollie, Lawrence Patent nearly a second clear already.
Yeah, he's been able to not have to worry about getting spray in his eyes. He's gone for now anyway. Lewis Jones will not let him go, that we know that for a fact. Krabs falling about a second behind, but
yeah, he's got very deep there.
Silo.
Entering.
Silo, that was a bit naughty. That's 3 wide.
Esko Kalevi's trying to get involved. So is Parker out of nowhere down the inside of his championship rival at the final corner. And the V-Carb's trying to make his way through as we see Magnussen Cube disconnect. Ollie will try and get him back into the session there. But Lawrence Patent leads the way and has the fastest lap, of course. Almost a second clear of Lewis Jones, although DRS will not be active in these conditions. Silo from 6th on the grid is already up into 3rd, but look in the background as Parker and Esko Kalevi are challenging each other into turn 1. Esko losing the position to his championship rival, getting tapped in the rear there by MS Eric and almost being spun around, but he faces the right direction and has lost a bit of ground to his championship rival. As in the background, the other V-carb of Tom Campbell is battling with AMS Venzi, the Red Bull on the inside, Tom Campbell on the outside. Side by side they go through the technical section to start Sector 2, and it looks like Tom Campbell will get the move done with the inside line for the double right-hander, and he makes it stick. So Tom Campbell up into 8th, having started down in 9th, the two of them just swapping positions. In terms of tyres, everyone on the intermediates here, no tyre difference between any of our drivers. But you can see people being very aggressive indeed, including Katsbay and Jacek down in 11th place after starting at the back of the field, Ollie.
You say that, he's now battling with Mark Daniel. They're going side by side now going to be into the stadium section. Will the McLaren get back up the inside? Looks like he's got the move, but they're still going to stay side by side, and it looks like Castro will have the inside for the final corner. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot more harder to make overtakes in these conditions, definitely. But I'm sure he'll still be in the points come the end of the race.
Absolutely, and Silo just set the fastest lap of the race there, 0.3 of a second quicker than the top two, but he is bringing company with him as Krabs, Parker, Esko Clevy and Amos Eric all tucked up right behind the Mercedes. So the top two, maybe they're thinking of managing their tyres, maybe the guys behind them just have that bit extra pace. We will wait and see. With 36 laps ahead of us, what have you seen, Ollie?
Kareem muscling his way past Venzi. So the Mercedes up to P9. Venzi looking to the outside, but too far behind. But yeah, muscling his way through there out of turn 3.
Yeah, out of turn 3, and Kareem went quite deep there into the tight and twisty section as Mark Daniel and Katsby and Jacek are at it again in this battle over 11th place. The Red Bull has the inside line though heading into the S's, and he will complete the move, but the two McLarens queuing up at the moment behind the Red Bull. Mark Daniel with the fully orange nose, and AERT Boaty just behind him with the chrome touches to his car, so you can tell the difference between those two. But yeah, this is action-packed start to the race. Lawrence Patton leading the way now by 1.4 seconds as Lewis Jones appears to be getting caught by the Mercedes behind him. Lawrence sets the fastest lap. It is quickly beaten by Silo, this time by 1/10 of a second. So Silo clearly with a lot of pace in the early stages of this race. Has Magnussen got an invite, by the way? Has he?
Yeah, I've sent him one. Maybe I'll send him another one.
Yeah, I'll send him one myself as well while we're going through. I'm not seeing him on my list, though. He's not showing us online anymore, so I'm not sure if he is actually still with us, or whether he just really does not want to race in these conditions, which can we blame him particularly? These are very miserable conditions, to say the least, but Lawrence Patton currently enjoying it. 1.7 seconds now the gap, and he'll be hoping that Lewis Jones is able to hold up the Mercedes behind him when he inevitably catches up. A lovely camera angle here through the S's section as we head through the Magdalena Mixuca Sports Park here in Mexico City. A street track, kind of, this one. It's built on the internal roads of the inner city park here in Mexico City, so whilst it is kind of a street course, it's kind of not as well. But it's that section there heading through the Forest Sol that is absolutely incredible on race day, packed to the rafters with about 40,000 eager F1 fans who, well, we know Mexico City has a fantastic atmosphere here come race day. They won't let the rain dampen their spirits whatsoever, and they have an on-track fight potentially between the two championship contenders, Parker and Esko Clevy, one behind the other at the moment, but Parker is absolutely doing enough, as we also get a lovely view of the other baseball stadium in the city heading through turn 3 there. Down towards the second sector split. No one quite close enough to make a move at the moment. Eric is quite close to the back of Esko Clevy, but nothing doing for that position on lap 5 of 36.
Has the rain eased off a bit? Like it's not raining as much anymore.
There's still a lot of water on the camera lens as we ride on board with Esko Clevy behind Parker through the middle section. There's definitely a lot of water. It's Just a question of whether it does die down before the end of this race, because of course 36 laps ahead of us, the joint most laps we've had in a race this season around this quite short Mexico City circuit, only 4.3 kilometres a lap. It potentially has got a little bit lighter, but we'll have to wait and see whether it dies down over the course of this race, as long as Paten sets another fastest lap, which once again is beaten by Silo. So the track is definitely getting quicker. That's one thing we can say here, because those times are consistently coming down lap after lap. But out at the front, we seem to have settled into a bit of a rhythm in this race, it's fair to say, Ollie. We have drivers quite close to each other, but not really close enough to go for those late sends, which you would be able to do in the dry conditions. Of course, late braking in these sort of conditions carries a lot more risk to it than it would in the dry.
100%. Yeah, I've already commentated on a race exactly like this, where yourself got a fabulous podium. Well done to you. But
thank you.
but yeah, I mean, I hope it does dry up. I think the rain it's eased off a bit. It's still raining, but like you say, still a lot of standing water on the circuit. So if it does dry up, it'll obviously be in the later stages of the race. But hopefully it does, and we can get a few runs on the dries, and hopefully DRS enabled. But I wouldn't count on it, as Silo under half a second behind Lewis Jones now, so he's starting to put the pressure on.
Absolutely, we're back in the baseball stadium at the moment, heading out towards the start of lap 7 of 36, as this man's teammate gets the first track limits penalty of the day. Kareem Vans gets 3 seconds as Silo sets another fastest lap in this race, marginally quicker than what he did on the previous lap. And will he be close enough to make a move on Lewis Jones? Here comes Mercedes down the inside, but not quite close enough. He had a look trying to put off the Alpine, but not close enough to make the move this time around. Instead, he'll try and set himself up for a good run out of turn 3 there. He slides his way through on the exit, and it takes him probably about 50 metres to get the car properly under control. Will he be close enough to make the move into turn 4? He has a look to the inside. Lewis Jones, though, does brilliantly well at defending that one. He broke at the perfect time, didn't let himself get distracted, and holds on to second place. And Lawrence Paten will be seeing this battle behind him and be hoping to escape as best he can. And if we had a look there at the steering wheels of the 3 drivers, you can see the Ferrari has considerably more battery than the 2 cars behind him. So this may be the perfect opportunity for Lawrence to try and escape a little bit more at the front, but some great battery management at the moment from the Ferrari, which is a crucial part of this circuit given its high altitude. It is there's less oxygen getting in the engine, it's harder to save up the turbo power around this circuit, which is some 2,285 metres above sea level, by far the highest altitude of any track on the calendar. Krabs now sets the fastest lap then, a 27.7 from him as well, an extra point going the way of Aston Martin at the moment. And yeah, that gap has come down a little bit behind Silo. We're sort of waving around the 2-second mark at the moment, as we see a battle between Kareem Vans and Venzi heading through the first couple of corners. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between the two of them. Silo was not close enough to make the move yet again on Lewis Jones, but instead his teammate is fighting hard with the 2 Red Bulls, and this is exactly what Ferrari want to see at the moment, as we almost go 3 wide towards turn 4. Oh, the Red Bull slides! Venzi goes far too deep on the brakes. Kareem Vans keeps it up the inside. There's further contact, and somehow it's Catsby and Jacek who has lost out in this battle. And through goes Mark Daniel, looking down the inside of the Mercedes. It's a fantastic 5-car battle here. Kareem really getting his elbows out there and pushing the limits there, as Mark Daniel picks the pockets of the 2 Red Bulls and gets himself up into the points. Red Bull in the season finale at the moment are scoring no points, while Ferrari are in the lead, having taken pole position, and that would be enough to put Ferrari second in the Constructors. So this could be crucial for the Scuderia at the moment.
As you say that, another point earned there by the Ferrari of Lawrence Paten, still leading by almost 1.5 seconds. But yeah, Kareem, yeah, I suppose he's giving us a bit of entertainment here, battling for
Absolutely
his
so.
life. It reminds me a bit of a certain Tier 4 driver that was driving for Mercedes that was fighting for his life
Yeah,
in the wet.
that was interesting to say the least, but fair play to Lawrence Patten at the moment. The only Ferrari here tonight, as Takubi was unfortunately unable to make it in, but he has picked up
Oh, Mark
currently, as
Daniel.
it stands,
Oh,
a
he's got a
perfect. Oh no, they're still battling here over that final couple of points paying positions. Here we go, down towards turn 4, almost free ride. Venzi looking around the outside, Kareem covers the inside, and I think there might have been a little bit of contact there with the McLaren, but not too much. It's not thrown Cream off. Mark Daniel will lose the position to Venzi as Catsby and Jacek looking down the inside of the McLaren now. Can he get his foot down well enough on the exit to challenge? Not quite towards the S's, and it's almost as you were, just Venzi swapping with Mark Daniel, but these guys scrapping over the final couple of points paying positions, which could be crucial in this championship battle between Red Bull, Ferrari and Williams. At the moment, Ferrari picking up perfect points as Catsby and Jacek looks down the inside,
Venzi.
as does his teammate ahead of him. Lawrence Patten sets another fastest lap, but look at the battle here at the back end of the top 10. There's contact between Mark Daniel and Venzi, a little nudge in the back. Now Boaty's getting involved and tries to push his way through on the inside of Catsby and Jacek. These guys are battling as though this is the championship battle between them, and Catsby here makes a very smart call, I think, by coming into the pits and getting out of the battle. We are almost halfway. Oh, he's retired. Well, that was the smart time to pit. If you was going to make a pit stop this race, you could do it now and get to the end of the race. And likely, on your own, without 4 cars around you battling, you would have jumped those guys and quite possibly got yourself up a bit closer to Tom Campbell with the undercut.
Oh, they're going to be 3 wide here into turn 4. Oh,
goodness
me.
They're going for it again. They are going for it again. I think there was further contact there between Venzi and Kareem, who slides his way through turn 5 at the moment to SA Del Lago. These guys are putting on a real show for us at the moment, and during this battle, by the way, we have completely not noticed that Silo has got past Lewis Jones at some point. If you asked me when that was, I genuinely couldn't tell you.
1 lap ago. And Boaty!
Boaty slides his way through on camera shot there. He keeps the car out the wall, but that is him out of the battle. And now it's a 3-man fight as Lawrence Patten sets the fastest lap, which is immediately beaten by Silo. And now the Mercedes will try to chase down the Ferrari for the rest of this race. 2.1 seconds the gap. What can Lawrence Patten do, Ollie? Can he keep Silo behind him like his teammate eventually did after a post-race penalty in Austria?
Yeah, I think Lawrence is looking good here. I mean, this is now the 2nd lap that Silo has been ahead of the Alpine, and if anything, Lawrence has actually gained more because he was 2.2. He's now 2.4, hovering around the 2.4 mark.
It ebbs and flows throughout the lap, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lawrence is seemingly better at this sort of tight technical sections, where Silo seems to be able to carry more speed through the S's in Sector 2 by the looks of things. So we'll wait and see how this gap ebbs and flows. It's 2.5 seconds as they entered the S's, and Silo's getting away, you know. Lawrence is getting away at the front there.
Oh,
he
they're still
another
going.
10th of a second there.
Oh,
and that is the wall. That is the wall. Venzi retires, and that is Red Bull out of this race, and that could well be Red Bull out of the championship fight with Ferrari for 2nd place. The 2 Red Bull drivers DNFing in the final race of the season. And,
I
now...
just noticed something.
What's that?
The rain has stopped.
It certainly has. The rain comes to a stop after the 2 Red Bulls pick up their 5th and 6th retirements of this season. It takes us to 62 retirements for the season in season 16. That is the most in any season since season 7, where somehow they got 90 retirements that season. I think there were some sprint races though in that one as well, so I think there were a few extra races compared to this one. But Kareem Bands also retires in the pits, so the 2 main culprits of that battle, you'd have to say, both calling it a day there. But Red Bull double DNF now means that all Trosh has to do is finish in... Oh, it does have to be... I say all he has to do. It does have to be first place. If Ferrari wants second in the Constructors' Championship, they need to win this race. And it would go their way. Williams, at the moment, down in 6th with Esko Kalevi. They are firmly 3rd. What have you seen?
It's not what I've seen, it's what I've just heard. You said Trosh needs to finish first?
Trosh, sorry, Lawrence Patton. I saw Trosh in the stream chat saying that Merc are playing dirty again, and assumed it was Trosh. Okay then, let's have a look if anyone makes an early call into the pits. You can see the drivers pulling off the racing line, getting to the damper side of the track to try and cool down their intermediate tyres for this length of that pit straight, but no one pulling the plug just yet. Everyone still on the intermediates. No one.
They're going to wait until it dries.
Either of the McLarens, they don't come in as well, so they're all deciding it is still too early, despite there being a much drier line visible, that is for sure, but it's still not quite dry enough for dry tyres in this race. Lawrence Patton leads by 2.5 seconds, a gap that has been maintained for the past 3 or 4 laps now to Silo. He's in complete control at the moment, is the Ferrari, and it has been an exemplary drive by the man who spent the last 2 rounds being the defensive experts for the team to try and help Takubi get himself into the championship battle. And well, I tell you what, that defence over the last 2 rounds may well have got Takubi the position that he needs in this championship battle, because without Takubi in the race, he is stuck at 108. But Tom Campbell down in 8th at the moment is only picking up 4 points, which would only take him to 104. And with Katsby and Jacek out the race, he'll stay at 100. So Takubi, as it stands, despite not being here, is still getting 3rd in the championship.
That's what consistency does. It rewards you in the end.
Absolutely. Eric picks up a 3-second time penalty there, the second man to get that in this race, as Mark Daniel also had one. And out the front, Lawrence Patton still quite comfortable. No one pulling the plug just yet. Lap 14 of 16, approaching the halfway mark. But everyone still opting for the wet tyres. Although, look who's coming in the pits. Boaty at the back of the field. Is now the time to roll. Oh. That's twice that's happened
every
in
time.
This race. That's twice it's happened, and his team have decided, sod you, Boaty, you're going back on the intermediates. And they'll send him back out to retire the car. So we're down to 10 runners now in this race, and Magnussen Cube, despite having disconnected and being unable to get back into the race just yet, he might still pick up a point here for Haas in the last race of the season. But yeah, it's been far from a classic minus that battle at the back end of the points, and I'm sure Mark Daniel will be hoping for a safety car in this race, because yeah, he is long way back at the moment, 10 seconds behind Tom Campbell. Everyone quite spaced out. It's typically the 2 championship leaders who are near each other, but they've never actually been close enough to fight for the position yet.
Yeah, I don't think we're that far away from the track actually getting dry. I mean, there are obviously still offline, there are still quite these bits of standing water, but
yeah, big slide for Esko Kalevi coming out the final corner there, and you can see all the drivers going for this middle part of the main straight to try and cool down their tyres. The left hand side is the racing line, and partway down the straight you also have a line on the right hand side where the pit exit is. So all the drivers opting to go down the middle, just trying to cool their tyres as much as possible. The track's still not dry enough for the dry weather compounds. But, yeah, this race may just get interesting when it does become wet enough. And well, for Lawrence Patton, this could be a huge disadvantage for him at the moment, being in the lead. Sure, that 2.4 seconds gap that he has over Silo is very nice, but if Silo is to pit a lap before, and it turns out that that is the correct lap to pit on, that 2.4 seconds could be completely wiped out, and in fact Silo could jump him in the pit stops. So pit time in here for both Ferrari, Mercedes and the Alpine of Lewis Jones in 3rd place will be absolutely crucial. But yeah, so far so good for Ferrari and Lawrence Patton. Out the final corner he comes, and he stays out once again. Behind him, Silo does the exact same thing, As
Lewis.
Lewis Jones comes into the pits. Here we go then.
Don't retire.
The
Please don't
Alpine
retire.
is rolling the dice. For the love of God, don't retire, Lewis Jones. Otherwise, I may have called it quits and
Alpine
hung up the
double stacking.
microphone early.
Admiral.
Alpine double stack. Eric speeds into the pits. Will that be the end of his race? We'll wait and see. But Lewis Jones goes for the hard compounder tyres. Now that is a risk in these conditions because the hards will take the longest to warm up, and on a slightly damp track that could be very costly indeed. But we will have a look at the gap to leader as Eric picks up the hards as well. We'll keep an eye on the gap to leader, right on board with Lewis Jones for a little bit as he goes very deep at turn 1, and he is very gingerly indeed. There does not seem to be much grip on the track at the moment. He has to fight the oversteer, but look at the amount of time he lost to the McLaren in just turn 1 alone. 27 seconds behind the leaders at the moment as he goes very deep and goes off the racing line. And I think it may be a bit too early for these dry tyres. He is really struggling out there at the moment. The gap to the leader has gone up by another 2 seconds in the last few corners alone. We're now at 29.5 seconds behind the top 2. And I think Lewis Jones's little roll of the dice there on his romantic return to the Mexican Grand Prix with Alpine, the team and circuit where he won his very first race at, all the way back in season 11, some 44 races ago. I think this strategic call may have been a lap or two too early, Ollie.
Yeah, unfortunately so, and this is just going to hurt him when even the our guys come into the pit lane. He's just going to emerge, probably even behind Esco Calavi and Parker, maybe even Tom Campbell, depending on just looking at how much time he is losing. Yeah, it's driving on ice. Driving on ice. There's nothing he can do. He's just got to stay out and hope for the best.
Hope for the best. Yeah. It's such a shame for Lewis. I was actually wrong there. I said it was 44 races since he won his first race. That was since his last race win, as Eric calls it a day. And we're down to 9 drivers now. But yeah, that is such a shame for Lewis Jones. It was 44 races since he last took a race victory, albeit he hasn't actually raced in more than 11 of those. So he's raced in only a quarter of those races, but it was 60 races ago that Lewis Jones took his first win in SKG
Crabs!
Tier 1.
Crabs! Wait, what's happened to him? A puncture!
Oh, he's got a puncture! Left rear puncture on the Aston Martin, and he spins his way into the barrier there at the entrance to the stadium section. He keeps the car going, but that is horrible timing for the Aston Martin as he now sees Esco Calavi, Parker and Tom Campbell all get past him. And this is huge news, by the way, for Tom Campbell, who's now up into 5th place in this race. It is a lifeline for him in the Drivers' Championship. He's up into 5th. You see Parker and Esco Calavi both in the pits at the moment and both switching to a dry set of tyres. It's the hard tyres for them as they will both come out of the pit lane now. And have they done this at the right time? Well, Lewis Jones is a long way back at the moment in 7th place, and he has been jumped by both of them as he slides his way through the final corner. Oh my word, Lewis Jones, that is some car control to keep it out of the pit wall there. But yeah, Lewis Jones's gamble has not paid off. What will happen to the 2 championship leaders though? Has it been the right time for them? And well, you kind of have to argue, if you're Esco Calavi here, should you have maybe stayed out for one more lap and gambled that it wasn't the right time? Because he's just done the same strategy as the guy he's battling in the championship.
I think they were more so doing that because they were following Crabs who punctured literally on the same lap of tyres. So I think they might have just done that for safety, with Crabs getting a puncture on lap 16, which I think is crazy. The fact that people stayed out.
I think it's also partly because the conditions have been a lot less favourable, as we see Lawrence Patten into the pit lane. Silo does not. Silo stays out here, so a change in strategies between the top 2 as Lawrence Patten goes on to the hard set of tyres that will take him to the end of this race. But Silo now leads the way, as we saw behind Tom Campbell also into the pit lane. Mark Daniel stays out, so the McLaren up into third place. He was that far behind Lawrence Patten. that he's actually not going to gain the position off the Ferrari, but we will ride on board with the McLaren and see how much time he gains through the first sector, because Lawrence, of course, on very cold, dry tyres versus the probably overheating intermediate tyres on the McLaren, and the McLaren has gained quite a lot of time through the first couple of corners there, but will he be able to hold on to that as we go through the rest of the lap? Silo, the gap to Silo at the moment hasn't particularly changed actually, Ollie. It's still about 17 seconds.
If anything, it's going up.
Slightly, yeah, down up to 18 there, so Lawrence perhaps more fearful to put the power down sooner, but then, oh wow, he gains 0.5 of a second there between turns 6 and 7, and oh my word, look at the gap come down now. Through the S's section, he's found the heat in the tyres, the hard tyres have warmed up, and he is hunting the Mercedes. He's gained an entire second through that section. In comes Silo at the end of this lap, into the pits, and
Mark Daniel's got a puncture.
Mark Daniel right rear for the McLaren. As you see, it's limping its way back on three wheels
Silo,
at the moment. He has
lucky
to
man.
cut the inside there. Hopefully that doesn't give him a penalty. It doesn't, but through goes Parker and through go Esko Kalevi. Silo comes into the pits. Will he be under pressure potentially from the two behind him here, Ollie? I think he might come under a little bit of pressure potentially from Parker on the exit of turn 1, because we saw how much time was gained by Mark Daniel on Lawrence Patten through turns 1 and 2. I think Silo might just get away with it, but cold tyres versus the warmed up hards behind him could potentially be interesting, and Parker will be hoping to get himself within a second. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Silo has that one all wrapped up instead, but 6 seconds now, the gap to Lawrence Patten. That was the perfect strategy call from the Ferrari driver there, you have to say. He has gained an entire 3.5 seconds over the man behind him in this race just by pitting one lap earlier.
Well, one-time Ferrari strategy actually works.
Exactly. Got to also point out that there is, of course, the overall Constructors' Championship battles going on at the moment, and while the overall Constructors has already been wrapped up by VCarb, who begun the night on 825 points, with McLaren further back on 774, there is still a fierce battle at the moment for 7th in, maybe not 7th, for 8th in the Constructors' Championship. Haas begin the day on 289, Aston Martin on 258, Alpine on 241, Sauber on 231. Now, of course, one Alpine is out of this race and there is no Saubers, so Sauber unfortunately confirmed on 231 points. But Alpine, with Lewis Jones in 5th at the moment, could be mounting a late charge to try and snatch 8th place off of Aston Martin. One to keep an eye out on for the rest of this race. One to also keep an eye out on is Silo, who has gained 0.3 of a second on this last lap.
I didn't notice that DRS actually has been enabled, and yeah, Esko Kalevi obviously is the only man that has the DRS, and well, this race has, I think, gone a bit stale.
It certainly has, yeah. It's been far from a classic, which is a real shame when you look back at the last probably 4 out of 5 races, you've got to say. Azerbaijan was an absolute classic. Brazil was a fantastic race as well, to be fair. Brazil, Azerbaijan, Vegas was pretty entertaining. Kota was not bad either. Austria was very entertaining. It was only really Qatar in this second half of the season that didn't live up to the billing, and well, it certainly seems like today is not going to particularly live up to the billing as well, as Silo sets the fastest lap of the race, a 120.9, nearly a second quicker than what Lawrence Patten managed on the previous lap. So it looks like Silo is back now for the final 15 laps of this race, and it's just a question of can he catch, or when will he catch, the car ahead of him. Behind, though, the one on-track battle that we do have currently is between our two championship protagonists, and while this may not make a difference to the outcome of the championship, I'm sure Esko Kalevi would like to have the bragging rights over Parker in this race, and right now he has just got that by overtaking him for 3rd place into turn 4.
Yeah, Parker having a penalty, so even if Parker did get ahead, then it wouldn't matter, but Yeah, not much that Esco can do if they finish how it is. I was always a spin in the background. That is Lewis Jones having a spin, so don't know what
That's
happened there.
unfortunate.
Weird place
I
on a spin.
Yeah, I wonder if he's just overcooked his tyres maybe in the first few laps, because he's of course been on those tyres a little bit longer than everyone else, having made that early call for the hard tyres. He drops his way down into 6th place, which allows Lawrence Patton. Sorry, I just saw the fastest lap. It allows Tom Campbell up into the top 5 for VCARB as the fastest lap continues to tumble, with Esko Kalevi now setting at 119.4. And
As Lewis
Parker,
Jones pitting, I guess this will probably be him retiring, maybe.
and
It
it
is.
is. So that is the Alpine dream over and out. They will end season 16 on 241 points as a constructor, which is the exact amount that VCARB entered this race with here tonight in Tier 1. So not a great season for the French outfit, not managing more points than the Constructors' Champions of Tier 1 in all 4 tiers. Not exactly a great season from them. As it stands elsewhere, though, just taking a look at the live constructors, with Ferrari leading the way, and with that extra point for pole position, Lawrence Patton is currently got the one-man team guiding Ferrari to second in the constructors. They have been outside of the top 3 every single race until after Austria. They were bottom of the Constructors' Championships after the 3rd round of the season at Saudi Arabia with just 4 points. But the second half charge from Ferrari has been pretty extraordinary from their drivers. They took 3 victories and 4 further podiums between the two of them, and they hoisted themselves up into the top 3 after Austria. And now with both Red Bulls out the race, and with 26 points heading their way at the moment, as it stands, they will be second on 199 points, 4 ahead of Red Bull on 195. It's just whether Silo can catch the Ferrari and spoil the fun for the Scuderia, which, well, he is coming slowly, isn't he? 4.4 seconds now. In terms of the Drivers' Championship standings, as it stands currently, Parker, of course, winning the championship. He is currently 3rd, but with that penalty will drop to 4th. And it'll be Esko Kalevi picking up a podium in the final race of the season. Instead, would be his first podium since round 5 at Singapore, and that has ultimately been what has cost him this season, I think. In the same amount of time, Parker picked up 2 second-place finishes and 3 fifth-place ones. And it's ultimately been Parker's consistency, finishing in the points every round this season, and currently having a streak of 35 straight points finishes, which is a record of any driver, and that has been what has won him, or will ultimately win him, the championship this season, don't you think, Ollie?
Absolutely, yeah. Consistency is key, especially in league racing and just in racing in general. But you got to say, 30. Well, it's going to be 36, obviously, with only 8 drivers here, or 7 if you discount Magnusson Cube's ghost car, which is still circulating, and will score 4 points. So
I'd like to think they still give him. Yeah, I'd like to think they'll still give him the points, because I don't think it's going to make a difference in the championship whatsoever. I'm just looking at where Haas are competitive teams around them. Yeah, Haas start the day on 36 points. They are 14 clear of Alpine, who are now not scoring any points thanks to their 13th and 14th retirements of the season. That, surprisingly, is not a record for most retirements in the season. McLaren had 15 all the way back in season 7, although that was a season with 15 races plus a few of those being sprints, whereas this has only been 12 rounds. So Alpine have definitely had the worst season in terms of DNF to race ratio, but yeah, the Alpine team confirmed last in the Constructors' Championship this season. Haas, 36 points. They are 26 behind Sauber at the start of the day, so Magnussen Cube's 8th place will not make any difference for them, unfortunately. But yeah, it's been far from a classic, it's fair to say, and we're just now hoping, as we've seen Lawrence Patten get ahead of the Ghost car of Magnussen Cube, we're just sort of hoping for our sakes more than anything that there is some more battling to be seen between the guys currently 3rd and 4th, and maybe even for the race lead as well. 3.2 seconds as we are about to start lap 27 of 36. There will be 10 laps to go, which means Silo needs to gain about 0.3 of a second every single lap, which he's just about doing, I'd say, Ollie. He gained about 2 seconds in 4 or 5 laps. It's going to be close, but when he gets within that DRS territory and within a second of Lawrence Patten, you have to feel that gap will come down a lot quicker.
Yeah, I mean, both of them on very similar battery. They're using as much as they can to just try and Silo to catch and Lawrence to defend, or just try and protect that buffer that he has at the moment. But it's coming down ever so slightly every lap. I think Silo probably will get the DRS coming into the race, but it's just whether or not Silo can pass the absolute defensive masterclass that Ferrari is. We know in Vegas he put up, was it Vegas? No, COTA.
It was COTA and Austria, where Lawrence Patten became the Minister for Defence at Ferrari, and was really helping Kubi out to get a better result in COTA first of all, and then to leave him unchallenged to go and fight Silo. It was some incredible driving from Lawrence. He pushed the limits, it's fair to say, but he didn't ever step over them, and that was the crucial part of it. And yeah, some really top stuff from him. On this lap, Silo has actually lost 1/10 of a second to the Ferrari. So it's looking good for Silo. He just needs to keep it up. Lawrence at the moment, he just needs to keep it up. Silo does have the fastest lap of the race, albeit only by 0.004 of a second from Parker. I expect that Krabs is going to come into the pits very late on in this race and go for the fastest lap for Aston Martin myself, because he is 43 seconds clear of the ghost of Magnussen Cube at the moment. He has nothing to lose, and I think penultimate lap of this race, at the end of lap 34, he will bring his Aston Martin in for a set of softs and go and steal that fastest lap point. But so it will be a point less for Ferrari to earn, but as we know, they have to win to steal second in the Constructors off of Red Bull, who at double DNF for Venzi and Katzby and Jacek could be very costly indeed. It was a 3rd retirement of the season for Katzby and Venzi, both of them picking up 3.
Oh. Goodness me. I was just checking the warnings of our guys. Lauren's on 2, and he just then went over the track limits, and I thought, oh god. And with the gap hovering at 3 and a bit seconds, I was worried that was about to be a penalty for the Ferrari. Silo also on 3 warnings, which is a weird one.
I reckon if you go and take a look at the race director, I reckon one of those warnings will be for contact when there was the battle between Silo, Parker, Esco, and I believe Lewis Jones at the start of the race, where there was like 3 cars all battling over position. I reckon a couple of the warnings there will be for that, whereas Lawrence Patten has not battled anyone in this race. He has been clear the entire time, unchallenged the entire time. His will be for track limits, and I think he might be having to be quite careful at the moment, because you can see that gap to Silo has gone down by another 5/10 on this lap alone. So Silo making up for not gaining anything over the last 2 laps. He's snatched half a second out of the gap on this lap now. But Silo will be being careful. He's using quite a lot of battery, but so is Silo. So the two of them, even though it might not be the most entertaining of race between the two at the moment, you can tell both drivers are full push at the moment and trying their absolute best to keep one another apart. Parker is at the moment inside of a Haas. And I think he was trying to be a bit cheeky there and grab DRS off the Ghost car and Magnussen Cube, but unfortunately he caught up to the back of him that little bit too quickly, which means he won't have DRS, and instead he's actually allowed Esko Palevi to be that little bit closer to him, coming across the line, but Esco, he's not really gaining anything whatsoever. I have a feeling, looking at the difference down this straight, that Esco might have a wet setup on, and Parker might have one with lower wings, perhaps a dry setup, because Parker was saving battery down that straight. Esco had DRS and wasn't saving battery. He also wasn't using it, but it wasn't harvesting, and he wasn't gaining. Despite DRS and the car ahead of him harvesting battery, he wasn't gaining at all. So I think Esco might be on a wet weather setup compared to the dry weather setup of Parker ahead of him. But Esco won't mind, so long as he stays within 3 seconds, he will finish on the podium ahead of Parker. But the championship, it looks like it's all over, unfortunately, for Esco Kalevi. Even if Parker was to DNF here today, he would still currently be 6 points behind and would actually need to win this race in order to snatch the title away from the American. Out at the front, 2.7 seconds still as we start lap 31 of 36. 6 laps to go around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. And yeah, it has been far from a classic. We're starting to be honest, I'm starting to look at the landmarks that you can see from the next to the circuit. Ollie, I don't know about you.
I see how many
pretty
Louis
well.
Vuitton names there are on the lining of the circuit. There's certainly more than 3.
Yeah, it's been far from a classic. And yeah, we're sort of hoping for a battle between our championship contenders, but given, like I say, I think Esco is on a wet setup, he did not gain much in a straight line over Parker, and I think because of that, it's unlikely we will see much of a battle between them. I mean, Esco was harvesting battery through the entirety of the S's section there, trying to have as much for the straight as he possibly can, but you can see Parker almost at full battery, Esco Kalevi not even at half. The Williams is having to push a lot harder to stay with the V-Carb than the V-Carb is to stay ahead of the Williams. So I think the main possibility for a battle will be at the front, where it's now 2.2 seconds between Silo and Lawrence Patten as we head through turn 3 at the moment. And past the, speaking of landmarks, past the Estadio Alfredo Harp. What is it? Helu. That's what it is. It's the only sort of interesting landmark fact we have, because this circuit is very much in downtown Mexico City, practically, or like within the suburbs, rather, of Mexico City. It's, there's not that much to talk about. It's just, over the boundary of the circuit is just people's houses, pretty much. It's set in, like I said earlier, it's set in a sports park. The circuit uses the internal roads of that park for large parts of it. It's, there's not that much to talk about. The only thing we can talk about is the 2 stadiums that we have, and one we're just pulling into at the moment with Silo is the Foro Sol, that used to host baseball between 2000 and 2014. Used to host for the Diablos Rojos del Mexico, and the Tigres de Mexico, the Tigers of Mexico. Look at me know my Spanish. But yeah, it's the only real thing you can talk about with this circuit, unfortunately. And there are 2 stadiums. We're going past the second one off to the right, just behind the Mercedes at the moment. It's a second baseball stadium there, which isn't the new home of the Diablos Rojos del Mexico. That's where they're now based. They were at the Foro Sol. They decided, let's leave that place and move literally about a minute's drive down the road to a new stadium, which is about half the size. We're really struggling for things to say, can you tell?
Oh lord. As Esco Kalevi has just dropped out of a second of Parker, so I think he'll still get the podium, but with Parker obviously having that penalty, but yeah, I think it's all over. It's a shame, really, to see it end like this. You want to see a good battle and all that, but it's still nice for Parker, obviously winning his first championship. Touch wood, but I suppose it's a bit of a bland way to win a championship.
I I mean, to be honest, I don't even think we need to touch wood at this point, because even if Parker retired at the moment, Esco's not winning the championship. He'd also need something to happen to the top two in order for Esco to win this championship, and Parker to not score points, I believe. Let me just have a look. If Parker was to finish somehow behind Magnus and Cube, and Esco was to win this race without fastest lap or pole position, they would finish level on points and Esco would win on countback. So that is the only way that he can win it. But for that to happen, something would need to happen between the top two that didn't involve a retirement, because there'd still need to be 8 drivers in this race, and somehow Parker would need to finish behind Magnus and Cube, who is now a lap down on the top two. So I think that's pretty unlikely. So even if Parker finished 7th, which is the realistic lowest position he could finish in this race now, and Esco was somehow to win it, Parker would still have the championship, unfortunately, for Esco. So I think we can, at this point...
Oh my word. That was so far off track limits, I thought for sure that was going to be a penalty for the Ferrari. Oh,
he must have lifted. He did lift quite a bit there. He's lost about 2 to 3 tenths of a second through the stadium section there. It's 1.5 seconds as we enter the penultimate lap of this race. And, well, Silo realistically needs to be within a second by the end of this lap. Otherwise, you'll have to say this race is done and dusted in favour of Ferrari, which is what Lawrence will be hoping, what Kubi will be hoping. Not able to race here today, but and picking up no points. He will be hoping it ends exactly how it is right now, because he will be holding on to 4th place. Tom Campbell would need to drop another position in this one if Kubi wanted to hold on to 3rd, but with Mark Daniel 13 seconds back and with a 3-second penalty just like Tom Campbell, I don't see that changing in this race. As predicted though, here goes the fastest lap attempt for Krabs. The Aston Martin pulls into the pit lane and he is almost certain to get that extra point to his name, which is very nice for the Aston Martin to end it on a high with what will be a 7th place and a fastest lap. It's very close to a second. 1.1, 1.0 through the stadium section. Can he get it? Not quite. Silo will not be within a second of Lawrence Patton, and that might be race done and dusted. Across the line to start the last lap here. Lawrence Patton is not a second clear anymore. However, he is also out of the DRS for the next 2 straights. That's how the DRS zones work here at Mexico. If you get within a second exiting the baseball stadium, you have the DRS all the way down the pit straight and then all the way down this straight as well. And Lawrence Patton, I think, will be trying to harvest a little bit of battery. Both of them have next to nothing left, and it will be a last lap battle potentially for the win, but will it be 1 lap too late for Silo? Is that 1 lap extra on the intermediate tyres going to be the thing that ultimately costs him a chance at this race win? It looks like it might be. Esko Kalevi is almost 3 seconds back from Parker as well, so keep an eye out for that. Not that it's really going to make a difference in the championship battle, but it will for the podium here today. Through the final sector, though, we come, and for the final time in Season 16, Lawrence Patton leads the way. Silo running very deep there into the stadium section, trying all he can to put off the Ferrari. But as we leave the stadium, it looks like it's going to go the way of the Ferrari, and through the final corner we come, through the Peraltada. Lawrence Patton will win in Mexico City. Ferrari will get second in the Constructors' Championship, but 40,000 people in the Forest Soul will rise to their feet and crown the new champion of SKG Tier 1. It's Parker, and the American, he may fall behind his championship rival at the death there and drop off the podium, but he will not care. He was runner-up in Season 14 by just 6 points from Michał Opałka. He made it 5 points, the runner-up in Season 15. But twice the bridesmaid, finally the bride. Parker is your Season 16 Drivers' Championship title winner. Congratulations to him. Commiserations, though, to Esko Kalevi. It was ultimately that race in Azerbaijan that may well have cost him a shot at the title. He finishes 18 points adrift from Parker. And it is second for a second time in his career. He was runner-up all the way back in Season 9 to Soybean, as we see Krabs take the fastest lap of the race there, as we predicted. Esko Clevinos, runner-up in Season 9, runner-up in Season 16 as well. Will it be third time lucky for him in Season 17? We will have to wait and see. But there is your race winner, and there is, I think, the driver of the weekend, you've got to say. Laurens Patten has driven an incredibly professional race. After questions were perhaps asked about whether he can pull off a race like this, or whether he's just there to defend for Ferrari, well, he's certainly answered that today. A controlled and commanding performance by the Briton, and it's race win for the first time in a long time. Or is that his first ever win? It is his first ever win, sorry. Laurens Patten, race winner. Congratulations to him as well, Ollie.
Yeah, he's ticked all the boxes today. Yeah, he's done fantastic. And yeah, to hold off Silo as well, who we thought was just going to be unbeatable when he showed us what he was made of a few rounds ago in, was it Vegas he made his debut? Or I think
yes,
it was Vegas. Yeah, we thought he's just going to win every race, but no, he can be beaten. And well,
and I have to say as well that Laurens can have bragging rights, because he is the first driver to beat Silo on track as well. And while Silo definitely had the pace come the end of the race, I mean, he closed that 6-second gap up, but just wasn't quite able to get close enough to overtake. I think one more lap and he would have got him. But yeah, Takoubi didn't beat him on track, you have to remember. Takoubi, it took a post-race penalty to the Mercedes for the Belgian to win that one. Whereas here, he's done it by himself. So fair play, Laurens Patten. That qualifying performance, that tyre management, this strategic call to pit when he did, it was all correct. And it has managed to get Ferrari second in the Constructors in Tier 1. So he will be very happy with that indeed. But that is the end of Season 16, Ollie. I'm guessing you probably agree with me on the driver of the day being Laurens today?
yeah, I think I have to agree with you for that. I mean, I obviously want to give it to Parker, but he didn't. I know he's just driven incredibly well to win his first World Championship in SKG, and you know, absolutely well played to him. But I think the strategic masterclass, and then just, you know, the pace, even the pole position, yeah, 100% Laurens Patten.
Absolutely. So we'll take a look at the provisional final drivers and constructors standings before we wrap up this stream. And it's in the drivers standings, I think it's only right actually that I put up the V card, because it has been Parker's season at long last. It's his 5th season in SKG Tier 1. He was 7th in Season 12, 10th in Season 13, and then 2nd in both Seasons 14 and 15. And now he finally has that Drivers' Championship to his name. And what a season it's been from him. Only one win across the season, and it was the season opener at Australia, but 3 second-place finishes, 2 fourth-places, and 4 fifth-places just demonstrate the consistency that the American has had this season. A lowest finish of 8th in Azerbaijan after the chaos there, and 7th in Saudi Arabia completed his season as well. Every single race in the points, 36 straight races where Parker has scored points. That is a phenomenal record that I'm sure he will continue on into Season 17. He wins the title with 153 points. Esko Kalevi on 135. Tom Campbell with 5th place does manage to creep into 3rd place overall, with 110 points. 2 ahead of Takoubi in 4th, and then Katsubian Jacek, the only other driver in triple figures. He finishes 5th on 100. Silo is 6th in his 4 races. 2 wins, 2 second places, and 3 pole positions, gives him 89 points, ahead of Laurens Patten in 7th for Ferrari on 59. SKG Venzi in 8th on 58. So that retirement crucial there for the Red Bull as he drops behind the Ferrari. 9th place was AMS Nardo, surprisingly. Despite only finishing 2 races all season, he picked up 42 points, and the top 10 was rounded out by... I cannot find who is 10th. Where are they? Did we have 2 9th place finishers? No, Krabs. Sorry. Krabs in the Aston Martin was 10th on 41 points. In terms of the constructors, it is VCARB dominant there again as well. 263 points for them with 1 pole position this season, 2 race wins, 3 second places and 3 third places. A phenomenal effort by the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls F1 team. It is Ferrari in second on 198 points, Red Bull in third on 195, and Williams in fourth on 167. Going down the rest of the order, you have Mercedes, the only other team in triple figures, in fifth, ahead of Aston Martin sixth, McLaren 7th on 85 and 80 points between Aston Martin and McLaren, so very close between them in the end. Kick Sauber on 62, Haas on 40, and Alpine on 22. In terms of the overall constructors, VCARB win that one. I'm not sure of the overall points off the top of my head. What's 4th and 5th get you? That's 22 points extra, I believe.
Yeah, it's 12 and 10, so...
12 and 10, so that takes VCARB to 849 points. McLaren, provisionally at least, on 782. Red Bull remain on 712, whilst Ferrari go up to, oh my word, mental maths, please, George, 662 points of Ferrari in 4th place. Williams are in 5th as they pick up 447. Mercedes in 6th on 435, so it was close between the 2 teams there, but not quite close enough for Mercedes to move into the top 5. Haas, I believe they will be on 293. Aston Martin on 265, I want to say. And then Alpine and Sauber round out the running on 241 and 231. But that is all she wrote, I think. I think we've covered pretty much everything there. It is... it's been a fun season. It's just a shame it ended like that, Ollie.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, we had the... I think we should be happy with the season that we've had. I think highlight was definitely Baku. I think that was just like one of them races that we're going to go back to in seasons to come and just be like, yeah, I mean, remember Baku all those seasons ago? Yeah, this is similar to that, and
absolutely,
it's been a really good one. Although we obviously had the races like tonight and Qatar that were just, was it Qatar that was the boring one?
I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah, because I think
Qatar
it was Takubi ran away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before Silo appeared.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
there's been the odd bad race, but in general, we've had a pretty solid season of racing with some very exciting ones dotted about in there.
100%. Yeah, I'm very happy with what the season that we've had, and many congratulations to all our drivers that did, well, turn up and race and gave us some good entertainment in the commentary box. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed being alongside you, my friend. And
thank you very much.
Looking forward to season 17 if you're back.
Absolutely, yeah. It should be a very fun one indeed. We will be back at a date that I don't believe has been confirmed just yet. I'm just taking a look. I have not seen anything, so yeah, no announcement yet on the new date, but I know there is a potential DLC for the 2026 cars coming at some point. But the best way to keep up to date of when the new season will start is by going and joining our Discord server. If I type in the chat !socials, something like that. It gives you a link tree there. I believe there is a link to the Discord in that link tree. But join the server, get yourself signed up for next season. We have seen how close this season has been more often than not. We've had some fantastic qualifyings, some fantastic races, and some great action in general. We will be back for season 17 in the near future. But for now, thank you for joining us this season. It has been an absolute pleasure working with you as always, Ollie, and it's been a pleasure covering this championship once again. And we look forward to joining you all back here in season 17.